You did? Yeah. Yes. To get my good side. Must be a mistake in the agenda. Sure. I know what it says. Are you sure it's a mistake? I was not supposed to say up to 3 minutes of general discussion. Well, that, yes. When we get to the bylaws, address from there.
Crazy, right?
I hit my goal last year. 3,000 miles.
One time with another family and our children,
It's a long 8 days. I mean, never mind.
It's all downhill.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a big surge. See, catch each other for
You can see, yeah, you can catch one. And Japanese
I will try to be as positive as
never mind a great Lincoln.
I don't charge you. All right, bicycle.
Well, I don't know. That was a really long time ago.
Okay, it's a disappointment. There is no copy of December 1 minutes to be reviewed or approved. Yeah, go ahead, Julie.
So here's what I'm wondering.
You're on the record, by the way. The camera's running.
Okay. When you sent the reminder, the way you phrase it, this is just me. It's like, can you just say, can we, it's the tone. You know, to say that you're in violation. Like, technically you're right, but how about, like, maybe you forgot.
Second time I brought it to the board's attention. Second time? I'm sorry, the board did
Well,
not
okay,
respond
I
to my
disagree.
other communications
Well, okay.
from a month ago. I'm sorry.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying.
Again.
The tone was, like, maybe you've forgotten to do it or something, or it slipped your mind. I get it.
Some places, like schools, have zero tolerance policies for certain things. I'm kind of like them.
I can tell by the fact that you said more. So the only thing is that I don't know about this. I was the city. You don't have any money. That wasn't the whole thing. I believe. I know.
Anyway, we're going to the Conrad ride and exploded.
Shotgun right behind my eyes. All over. Oh, we didn't have to worry about opening it then. Opening it down.
Air pressure?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What kind of, or what, who was the company? You don't remember?
I don't have a clue.
One of the big things that we're not.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Yeah. Because it goes and done, and so it's like, oh, this is now. I really love the holidays.
Oh, yeah, you do a lot of parades.
Right?
Well,
I mean, I go on patrol.
Yeah, no, but, yeah.
But I go, like when I take my mail to the mailbox, I
Yeah.
don't go to the one here, I go to the one in Silmar.
Oh.
The one in Mission Hills. And I go,
You're sick, you're sick.
it's really funny.
The attorney hasn't got
50 miles more on my car. Than on the bike. That's why
Yeah, I could look at the back of a couple of heads.
Bicycling in the county will go fight on the street. Getting into turn one to right. She was bicycling. I had to get ready to
In the median strip, right between
on
legs.
The ones that have
People think that the dog can keep up with him, you know. I think people,
If it ever gets spooked, it goes into the smoke. Nice.
And this was about 7 o'clock in the morning, so it was still kind of dark.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our quorum.
Accident waiting and.
Call the meeting to order. It's 6:35 PM, David.
Oh, you did?
All right. This is the first meeting of 2017 of Granada Hills South Neighborhood Council. If some of us are wheezing and hacking, please forgive us. We're in various states of disrepair tonight. And we have a few people out with the flu tonight as well. Let's start by giving a pledge of allegiance. The flag is to my left. Over here. Darren, would you lead us tonight? Sure. Thank you very much. Everyone ready?
Open your heart, move your hats. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Be seated, please. Julie, when you're ready, would you do the roll call, please?
Darren, can we put our hats back on now?
Dave Beauvais,
I'm here.
Mike Benedetto,
Here.
Jeffrey Gordon.
Here.
Bonnie Burst. Here. Julie Carson, I'm here. Jet Dunlap,
He is excused. He's ill.
Don Graham. Justin Kim. Sally Kolstad here. Jennifer Lee. Dawn Lopez.
She is excused. She's ill.
Darren Lopez.
Here.
Joe Lyle.
He is ill. Excused.
Anthony Matthews.
Here.
Mark Morris.
I'm here and I'm well. Thank you.
Brandon Kindleheim.
Here.
Brad Smith.
He's on his way.
Renee Trinidad.
He's excused. He's ill.
Andrew Wallace. And Cindy Woodman.
She's on her way. Did we get Brad Smith? Yes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's the other one.
All right. All right, we have a quorum. We are going to begin with public comment. Public comment is on non-agendized items only. The public will have a opportunity, thank you, have an opportunity to comment on the agendized items as they come up. So let's start. Please raise your hand if you have public comment. I have one card. Mr. Kuzmin, general comments.
Sure, let me come up there.
You have 2 minutes, sir.
Oh, how exciting. Do we have a timer?
Yes, we do.
Oh, good. I wouldn't want to go over unnecessarily. But, you know, if you want to grab me more time to speak, you have that authority. Tell me when the time is start. Listen, I have a couple of things to say, first of all. I want to welcome everybody to 2017. It's going to be a great year of emancipation and success for everyone, I hope. One of the things I wanted to let you know about is on Wednesday, January the 11th at the East Valley Adult Center in Sherman Oaks, which is a Valley Interfaith Council Senior Center. My wife and I will be hosting a disco dance. This is a free will offering event. There will be refreshments, and the music will be disco. We're calling it Dancing Through the Decades. I'll have flyers in the back for you. I also will put a couple of these out. They're all that I have with me. This is Hope of the Valley Cold Weather Shelter. So if you want to take a couple, if you want to take them and pass them out to the people that need addresses in our neighborhood where they can sleep tonight and be out of the rain, this is where they can go and where they can get picked up to be taken to the shelter and so on. Also, I will have on the table a list of services available to those people without addresses that are living around, and we'll get them showers and meals, tube job training, etc., so that they can work towards a better way of life and also be emancipated in this year. I want to thank the Neighborhood Council for the outreach that I've seen. I know I haven't been here in a couple of months, but that doesn't mean I haven't been paying attention to the activities and what's been going on. So just real briefly, I sent an email today about the issue of not posting the minutes on the website. I hope that will get attended to as soon as possible, and I know it will be taken care of in the spirit of transparency that is called for in the Charter for Neighborhood Council. Which, just on a technical note, I gotta bring this up. I feel that the $3,000 expenditure to fight the project at Woodley and Devonshire for a project that is outside the jurisdiction of this neighborhood council probably is not an expense that would have been approved by Dunn had they gone to their advance advice first. And I heard my timer, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Fisk.
And I will hand you a copy of the written thing on the concerns.
Thank you
for
very
the
much.
record. And one on the table.
As a volunteer for the LAPD, I thought I'd bring the community up to date on what's going on. There's been a big rash of home burglaries in the area. It's actually a big spike in the area in the last couple of weeks. The modus operandi is that usually you'll see a person sitting in a car by themselves, maybe on a cell phone, and they'll be the lookout. They'll be waiting for somebody to come or call to make it clear. When we were on patrol last week, we saw somebody like that, and they saw our little lights, and they just took off running. And often they're in rental cars or high-end cars and paper plates. So I bring that up to you. Also, that LAPD officer that was killed in Simi Valley. Yeah, just on a personal note, she was one of the bike officers I used to ride with, and we were supposed to go out again this Friday. She was a very excellent officer. She was very helpful with the community. She kind of worked both ways, what was going on in the community so she could do better patrol. And she told us about police activity. She taught us about graffiti. So she's going to be thoroughly missed. She's going to have services. Her services will be next Thursday. Thank you.
Was there a resolution to that?
Pardon?
Was there a resolution to that accident?
No, it's still under investigation. She was a passenger in the car, off duty. You don't know what, they're still doing investigation because of that.
Any other public comment? I don't have any other cards. I don't see any hands, so we are going to move on to item 4, which is community speakers. I'm happy to announce that we have a new liaison from Mitch Englander's office, CD12. I don't need to really introduce her because she's not new. You all know her. But Millie Jones called a few days ago and said, "Hi, I'm going to be your new liaison." So, Millie, please come up and give us a report from CD12.
All right, thank you very much. And I certainly want to extend a very happy new year to all of you, from the councilman and all the CD12 staff. I was really disappointed when the Granada Hills Residents Group banded their monthly meetings, and I think I made a comment of what am I going to do on Thursday night. And so I just now know there has been some reorganization in that staff, and I look forward to attending your neighborhood council meetings. Some of you I've known for some time, others of you I don't know, and I look forward to getting to know you. Dave was kind enough to share a membership roster, and I've got business cards back there for you if anyone wants to take them. A couple of things I'm going to mention. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly because I know you have a packed agenda. First of all, Councilman Englander had an opportunity to testify before the Gang Reduction Committee regarding the sidewalk vending policy. As you know, the street vending has been an issue that's been on the books for like a couple years, and there's been a lot of debate on it back and forth. But it's now moving for the city council for a resolution. And the councilman did give testimony, and I have a copy of his letter with that testimony in the back of the room if you'd like to pick up a copy of it. But, you know, basically he's just asking the committee and council to bring some common sense regulation to a problem that's been ongoing where enforcement has not been done on illegal street vending, and also recognizing that one size does not fit all. He mentions the mural ordinance policy with the opt-in and opt-out policy as a smart policy, and believing also that each council district, each council member should have the authority to set their own special district for this sort of thing with input from the neighborhood councils. Because again, one size does not fit all. We want to make sure that our businesses and our residences are not being negatively impacted by this. And we want to make sure that we get this right. So please take a look at that if you would. Secondly, just something that I think is a nice announcement to make, and that is the city council voted to support Councilman Englander's motion for the city of Los Angeles to host the 2017 World Police and Fire Games here starting in August 7th and closing on August 16th. This was sort of a little bit last minute. I believe it was the city of Montreal that withdrew from that plan for this year, and they came to the city of LA and said, would you host these World Games? And it seems like it's a positive thing, because there was probably $84 million in revenues realized in Fairfax County, Virginia, when they held the World Games there in 2015. So I think there's some significant economic impact that can benefit this area. Also, I left on the table copies of Councilman Englander's letter to the Granada Hills community regarding the 440-unit apartment project that's slated for the northwest corner of San Fernando, Mission Boulevard, and Woodley. Councilman Englander attended the Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council meeting on Tuesday night. I think answered, from what I heard, a number of questions that help give some clarity to this area. Particularly, in sending this letter out some time ago, there was a lot of false information going around, and we wanted to clarify that the councilman has no position on this project. He looks to the neighborhood council where the project is located to get the input, and it's premature at this point to even think about any position. Nonetheless, he has arranged a meeting with some of the key stakeholders that represent the neighborhood councils and the Chamber of Commerce next week. And what we've been asking, what I've asked at the Granada Hills Chamber of Commerce meetings, what's been asked, I know, at neighborhood council meetings, is to please share your input, share your views with the councilman so that he can better represent you when meeting with the applicant. And at the same time, we'll look at the project in terms of what would you like to see to make the project better, to make it safer. It's a project that, as you already know, has been applied for on the proper zoning within the general plan. So while I recognize there's a lot of concern, there's a lot of people that simply don't like the project at all, I think as we all know, it helps when you negotiate, when you look at ways that you can mitigate a problem, a project, so that it makes it more palatable to the community. So I urge you again, send out that input into Councilman Englander, send it to me, send it to Hannah Lee, the planning deputy, but just make sure the councilman gets it and hears your views on the matter. There is no date set for the meeting that Councilman Englander asked to be postponed. That was the hearing, meeting on December the 6th. The councilman wanted the community to have more time to give input, for him to hear input, and so the planning department deferred to his wishes there. And we believe that meeting will be set sometime, maybe around the end of January, it could be early February. We don't have a date on that. And as always, I encourage you to read the councilman's weekly newsletter, because that's always chock full of good information, and also notices of events that are coming up for all the many organizations that we support. So if you have any questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, I'll thank you for your time.
One from Jim.
Jim?
Yeah, what happened to the North Valley Planning Commission and Vic Sampson? I heard he was on 2 boards, the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council and also the North Valley Planning Commission, and there's been something rescheduled. Do you know anything about that?
Reschedule?
Somebody from Chatsworth had a case on the North Valley Planning Commission, but it was rescheduled or moved up because they have to go to a different planning commission.
There's the area planning commission and the regular planning commission, I think. I don't know the answer to that, Jim. But this was a particular meeting that you're...
No. He was on 2 boards. You're not allowed to be on 2 city elected boards at the same time.
Okay, being on the Porter Ranch, you said neighborhood council.
Right.
And then I think, and recently he was appointed to the area planning commission.
Yeah. Well, he's been with the area planning commission a long time ago, the North Valley.
So you're saying now that he's gone on the neighborhood council, there's a conflict there?
I think somebody else already pointed it out. I'm just wondering what happened.
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Yes, I'm.
We have a question here.
It didn't come up.
There's a question back here too.
Okay, I'll get you next. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, I just wanted to know what meeting we would attend, if we were concerned about that project.
Well, there's been some community meetings that have been held. I believe there was one, was it last week?
27.
Okay. Hopefully you can give input here, but at the same time, you can certainly feel free to send an email into the office. Give Dave your input, because Dave is included on the special stakeholders meeting, and as is Maria Fist, your land use chair. Same thing with the neighborhood council north. So by all means, share that input with Dave, and I know he will make sure it's fully represented. Sorry, your name?
Danielle?
Danielle, thank you.
Yeah, see me after the meeting.
Okay. William?
Oh, yeah, Millie. Sorry, because you really threw me for a loop when you said Mr. Englander hadn't taken a position on the project, because Mr. Englander went to the Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council on Tuesday night, and Richard and Maria were there, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but he actually stated his opposition to the project in as much as he stated he thought it was way too big. You know? So, again, you know, is what he said at the meeting the other night true? That he, you know,
That's why, William, he did say it's too big. But, and that's why, one of the reasons he asked the applicant to go back and re-review the project and scale the project down.
Yeah, well, I was kind of hoping that the applicant would be at the neighborhood council meetings where all these decisions were being made. But, you know, we don't get to hear from both sides all the time, so. But thank you for answering my question, making sure that I didn't hear something and imagined it.
There was false information that went around, William, that said the council.
I've seen all kinds of.
And there was no reason to do anything else. Well,
I've seen all kinds of erroneous statements.
So
All right, Michael?
I heard that there was a meeting on the subject on January 13th. What's the focus of that? Do you know?
It's a special meeting of leaders of the community to, again, gain more input from the community. That's why the logical groups to include are neighborhood councils. So we have the presidents from both neighborhood councils coming, the land use chairs from both neighborhood councils coming, representatives from the Chamber of Commerce, and also other organizations. So we want to make sure that we reach out to all the groups. Here's your appropriate place to let your input be known to Dave and to Maria, so that they can share your concerns. There's no reason to have a huge meeting. A lot more can be accomplished in small meetings where there's communication back and forth. But no one's voice should not be heard. We've asked over and over, make sure we hear your input, your thoughts, your ideas, whatever it is. We've heard issues about traffic, and even we've bantered some issues and concerns around within our office too, of things we thought should be done.
Millie, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right, we do not have Officer Del Corey tonight, however, we do have a representative from Dunn. I'm gonna call on him now. Melvin, I didn't catch you in the middle of a bite, did I? Okay, Melvin Canis, who is our representative from Dunn, would you come up and just give us the latest, please?
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Melvin Canis from the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. And I'll make it real quick. You guys received your monthly profile. I will just kind of go off of that. There's a lot of information that went out. It went out December 1st, I believe, over the weekend. You should have gotten it this week in your mailboxes, but there's plenty of information. Just on, this year, 2017. A lot of neighborhood councils will be celebrating their 17th year anniversary since they were certified, and I think, are you guys one of them?
No,
Nope?
we were late to the party.
Okay, all right, but, neighborhood councils are coming about, now, they're going through the, some people say, oh, they're going through the teenage years, they're getting up there. But, another thing that we've talked about here is that, liaisons, and I know it's one of the items on the agenda. And for me, it's one of the signs that in some of these cases, the liaisons are being created, the positions for liaisons, is because city departments are approaching our department asking if neighborhood councils can appoint liaisons that those city departments can interact with and deal with you directly on matters that those particular departments are dealing with. So it's a sign of the notoriety, the importance that neighborhood councils are gaining in city government, and I know it's developing throughout, but I do, and I thank you. I know you have appointed a number of liaisons, and on your agenda tonight, you will be dealing with appointing a few more, so please pay attention to those. And in some cases, you may appoint also stakeholders, and not just for board members. Another important piece of information is that, as a lot of you may know, the city council did approve an additional $5,000 to be allocated to each neighborhood council funding account. It is slated to be made available starting February 1st. Okay, so please make sure that you make note of that in your budgeting, so that you don't forget to spend it in your community by the end of the fiscal year. All right, the city will take it back gladly. And yes.
At a meeting, at one of the bank meetings, Councilman Weston spoke about a certain amount of money that we could roll over. I think he said something up to 5,000. He said because he was aware of neighborhood councils rushing to spend money at the end of the year, and so he thought it would be fair if a certain amount would be allowed to roll over.
So there has been conversation about that. We don't have anything final. That would have to be approved by city council, and it'll take your input as well, and to discuss it with your elected officials. If you think that's a good idea, we have done that before in the past. For those of you who may remember, we did allow neighborhood councils to roll over funds up to keep up to $100,000 over 3 years. There were issues with that, and then after some time, it was decided that there should be no more rollover funds because of a lot of confusion. So now we're back, to revisiting that idea. So please let your elected officials know that if that's something that you want to be allowed, then they should know about it. But as of this point, there is no decision, but the conversation is going on. The $5,000 has been allowed again. It was allowed last year. It's being allowed this time again. And like any city department, including our department, whatever money we don't use at the end of the year, it goes back to the general funds. And in some cases, there are some cases individually where monies may be allowed to roll over on a case-by-case basis. What you're talking about is sort of like a blanket ability for NCs to roll over funds. So
Because that was something that was discussed at a lot of the bank meetings, that all of the neighborhood council, including ours, at the end of the year, we were rushing to spend that money or have it taken away. So, Councilman President Weston has made his, one of the issues that he supports, letting up at least $5,000, I believe, was the amount.
No, look, I realize I'm talking to the choir here. I think, you guys as a neighborhood council board are one of the more organized and more prepared councils in terms of funding used throughout the years, but I know a lot of councils do wait until the last moment. And when I come to meetings around this time of the year, I do remind everyone to keep that in mind, and with the additional 5,000, some councils may forget about that. But that's pretty much it. I thank you for, I think we have pretty much almost 100% completion in terms of training. I know we have an issue with some, I think perhaps some of your youth board members perhaps,
Yeah.
that,
But I think he's completed that, I mean, yeah.
yeah.
That was good.
So, yeah, but I appreciate you being on top of all your funding and ethics and code of conduct training. And I will be sticking around, especially for your bylaws discussion, make myself available. Don't put me on the spot.
Unnecessarily.
All right. But, yeah, I'll be here.
Any questions for Melvin? All right, Melvin, thank you very much, and have some more pizza. Okay. Eric, do you have a bank report? Did they have a meeting last month?
Yeah, I have a short one.
Okay, give us your 2-minute version, please.
Okay, basically, the main topic was, the voting, the, electronic, voting, so, or online voting, however they did. They were discussing that as one of the main topics. Then later, of course, what something just brought up about people getting in all of their, stats updates and everything, and they also talked about code of conduct. That was still a hot debate, and getting people to sign it, and what can you do if they don't. So, but that was the meat and potatoes of discussion at that time. That's it. I got nothing else.
You're done?
I'm done.
Wow. Julie says, hurry up before it gets to something else. We have a couple representatives from the fire department tonight. They drop in every once in a while. Hopefully there's no emergency. This is just a regular visit. Fireman Powell, why don't you introduce yourself?
How you doing? My name is Jason Powell. I'm an engineer over at Station 87. He wanted to stop by. My partner got a call, so he had to leave. But thank you for taking this opportunity just to give us a couple of minutes. But we wanted to reach out to you guys and let you know that Fire Station 87, actually this is right on the edge. I think this is actually 70's district, but across the street is 87. We have a community room that seats about 40, has projectors and everything. And if you call a month ahead, you can reserve that. If you ever need to use that room for meetings like this, or if they're working, things have kind of changed, but still the same. I went to this school, I graduated in 1990, so it's kind of nice to be back in the same area, in the same community in which I served. But just wanted to reach out to you guys and see if there was any needs in the community that the fire department can help out. I know that we have lots of things like the fire station open house, which is in May, but we also let all the kids and everything come by anytime. That's your community fire station to stop by anytime and say hi. Introduce yourself, bring your grandkids, your kids, and just, give you a tour if we can. But we're not too busy. Sometimes we're on calls, we're moved up. But yeah, I just want to reach out to you guys.
Thank
We wanted to see what the community meeting is about. So yeah. Yes, sir.
Is that the room where the postmaster's meets in?
Yeah, the same room.
Awesome question.
Yeah, it's, the only thing that we typically ask is usually, drinks and water is fine, but sometimes it gets out of hand with the pizzas and stuff, so we have to kind of keep it to some sort of, regulation, because if not, they'll have parties in there, and then the next thing you know, the carpets are being ruined, but anyway, it's a great room. It's a great room to use, so It gets booked up pretty quick though, because the word's out.
Do you have a phone number for booking?
It's 818-756-8687.
Thank you.
And there's a number of them all through the city. So there's one at Fire Station 81, which is in, well, 81's is in Panorama City.
We're restricted to have all our meetings.
In this area.
Yeah.
Got it. So that's 87's be your closest community. So it's still Granada Hills. Yeah.
Richard?
Yeah, do you know who in your department would be responsible for reviewing development projects? The one on Woodley, San Fernando, it states that the LAFD and the LAPD are going to review the project. Do you know who's
I
responsible
would
for
check
that?
with planning. The fire department has a planning section. I would check with planning. I don't have that phone number on me. But if you
planning.
Google LAFD planning department or planning section, you could use that. They'll have information on that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, folks? Any other questions? Bill?
Real quick, what's the capacity in the community room?
I don't know exactly, but I know that there's been, Christmas parties and stuff that we've had in the neighborhood between 40 and 50 people.
You think 75 people with chairs?
Probably that'd be pushing it.
No, it's
75.
not quite that large. Probably
Yeah.
50 people max.
50 people is probably max. You got plenty of chairs, monitors, TVs, what do you call it?
Could you go through that phone number again for me, please?
818-756-8687.
Is it
Thank
booked
you.
for Super Bowl?
The one thing that usually is tough for weekends, it's actually a good question. One thing that's tough for weekends is that if the fire department that supersedes any meetings that are there. So if something comes up, you take a phone number, we may have to cancel it. There has a meeting that we need to have in that room. Typically, that doesn't happen a whole lot, but just if you had an important meeting, I would have a backup plan just in case it was on a weekend. During the week, usually wide open. So
Anyone else?
that's it.
Thank you, engineer. Really
Thank
appreciate
you,
you
sir.
coming out.
Appreciate it. It was kind of reach out and see what you guys are all about and see.
All right, good deal.
Yeah.
Mark, you have a report from,
They Blake did meet in December in a bit of a party mode, and they know how to party.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and my schedule has changed to where I'll be working on Saturdays, and so it's gonna be difficult for me to make.
We're gonna need a new light rep, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can put that on the agenda the next month. All right, I got a call from Krishna a little earlier. She's gonna be here but late, and she has a short report. I told her I would hold that report until she got here. D, under community speakers, we had a homeless meeting on 12/21/16, and we asked Josephina to attend and give us a report. So, hi, go right ahead.
Josefina Hatton, in case you're wondering. So I just recently sat in on the Valley-wide homelessness meeting, which took place on December 21st, 2016, at the Reseda Neighborhood Council Community Space. Reseda really headed this meeting, and two people in particular were Alicia Haffer and C.R. Cochran, who kind of conducted this. Those who were invited were the council reps and other personnel from the Valley neighborhood councils, including their liaisons. And the reason was to address us on the homelessness issues on the rise in the Valley and all over Los Angeles. So their concern for having this meeting was that there was another meeting held in downtown Los Angeles by the mayor. It was a homelessness liaison meeting, and what Reseda noticed was that there was a lack of representation from the Valley itself. So they wanted to extend what was discussed in that meeting in this Valley-wide homelessness liaison meeting and try to get organized for what will hopefully take place next. In addition to lack of representation at this meeting, they also addressed other meetings with resources for the homeless that the Valley can definitely participate in, which includes LASA, or the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, HUD, Housing and Urban Development, HOCLA, Housing Authority of city of Los Angeles. So that was one of the issues they expressed. Additionally, there was a parking ordinance that recently passed, so they wanted to have a conversation about where these ordinances should take place. We want to designate parking lots so that homeless in their cars and in RVs can have a safe place to go ahead and park and not be harassed. And additionally not upset the neighbors in the neighborhood. So they want the neighborhood councils to discuss where this should happen, and then bring that information to the next meeting so that we can discuss it. Also, what was addressed was establishing a resource database for the homeless of the San Fernando Valley. There were lots of examples provided. Some of those included the Tarzana Treatment Center. They recently hired a homeless liaison to extend their resources to the homeless in their community. And they are currently working on accepting direct Medi-Cal for programs between 60 and 90 days to help with that. Also, there was a gentleman who spoke on the FEED. That's his project. It stands for Food Empowerment, Employment, and Development. And it is a mobile community cafe. Currently, it is in the grant writing process, and they are looking for funding. The concept of this is that they will take food from other areas such as restaurants, that they didn't use, and they will re-prepare meals for donation. They will post a suggested value price for the meal, and all they ask is that someone just give what they can. It is open to more than just the homeless. It is open to everybody. There were concerns expressed about where this food vehicle should go to, because parks and schools, there may be a concern about distracting mothers and children from those areas. One other final thing that was kind of addressed resource-wise was a resource called Miracle Messages, and what they do is they reconnect loved ones with the homeless via online social media. So those are just examples of what is out there. There's so much more out there, but we don't really know what's out there, so we want to kind of get a list together from all the areas in the valley and just kind of have that provide to the homeless in this next step, because what they will want to do is have another meeting, which is not, it's still pending. We are still looking for those dates. But there is a stress because there is $1.4 billion that will be dispersed to LA County, and in order to participate in that, we need to be represented. And so there will be a homeless count. LAHSA puts this on annually, and that count is coming up on the 24th and the 26th of this year. So depending on probably what that count is and these meetings, these next steps, this is what they are trying to accomplish. Yes?
You said the count was on the 24th and 26th?
Yes,
You said this year.
this year, yes,
This year,
January.
January, Tuesday, connect.
She meant January, you mean January?
2017.
January this year.
Yeah, January.
I didn't hear January, sorry.
Sorry, did I? I'm okay.
I just wanted, because I'm taking notes.
No worries, no worries. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have one. Regarding the count, did
Yes.
they have any information on who to contact to volunteer to help with the count?
It is LAHSA who is putting this on. It sounds like they do this annually.
They
They
do.
are still currently looking for volunteers. There probably will to the day. It sounds as the 24th through 26th though. I'm not completely clear on how this is going to take place, but it seems to be divided into very organized structure. So I don't necessarily think that the 24th through the 26th, all of the ballot is going to be counted at that time. They may just do it in one day of those days and then go to other areas, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, they normally break the city up in the sectors.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could contact
Yes.
Lasha and go to their website for a volunteer.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Jim?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, real quick, if we meet a homeless person, it looks like they need help, is there any card we could give them, or place we can say, hey, you should go here for help right
There
now?
are cards that were discussed, it sounds like there are a limited quantity of those, so perhaps one of the things that needs to be discussed at the next meeting is perhaps pulling together efforts to get a higher limit of those cards to pass out. There were discussions on perhaps kiosks, a lot of ideas kind of culminated together to try to figure out what is the best way to deliver these services to the homeless and identify these individuals as well. So it's a lot that's going to be discussed in future meetings for sure.
If I might follow up on that, Jim, at one time, Dario Del Cor had talked about an app that LAPD had been given that would take that information and then they could forward that to the appropriate agencies. And I'm not sure, Millie, do you know if that app is available to the general population now?
I don't know, I'll check on it and see.
Could you check and see,
Yes.
and we can make that announcement at the next meeting if it is?
Absolutely.
Because if I recall, Dario said eventually, it's gonna be available to anybody who wants to put it on their
Right,
cell.
and I know we have the home team who's working with individuals.
Thank you very much, Josephine.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally, just one last thing. The city of Los Angeles did pull out a bunch of cards for the council members to go to so that they can do a survey on the resources that the city provides. So one of those surveys is in regards to homelessness. I was told it was the 4th survey on there, so I got cards for all of you to go ahead and take those.
Very good. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.
All right, we are going to bypass the approval of the minutes for the December 1st meeting because Julie had some technical difficulties and some personal problems that prevented her from getting it together.
So we'll have both.
We'll have December and January for the next meeting. Same with item 6, which is approval of the budget report. We're having problems getting one receipt, and we will have the next, like about 3 months worth next month, right? Hopefully. So we're going to bypass 7, go to number 8, which is board issues. We have one board issue. Item A, this is a motion to fund a request from Tulsa Elementary School in the amount of $3,000 to support their robotics program. The school wants to purchase 3 iPads and covers that will be used to program and direct the robots. Currently, parents are donating their iPads for this purpose. This item was carried over from our December 1st, 2016 meeting because Don Lopez, who was the person who put this together, recused herself, and it meant that we did not have a quorum once she recused. So I'm going to ask Darren if he's got anything else to add. Are you there?
Yeah,
there
I'm
you are.
here,
Okay.
I'm here.
On this,
Basically, I'm the principal, Lester Powell, for Tulsa Elementary. He's been there for the past 3 years. And he's made tremendous improvements on the education at Tulsa Elementary. My wife has been a great support over there. She belongs to the PTA over there a couple of years ago. And they've done some wonderful things. And he's just taking the school to another level. And basically, they sat down and talked about this robotics program. It's one of the first for an elementary school in the valley. So I think it's a tremendous asset for our community to support them and with their needs with the iPads. So,
you want to make the motion then?
I would like to make a motion to the amount of $3,000 to support the robotics program.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Matthews. Comment from the public on this item? Don't see any hands?
I see
Any cards?
I got hands.
Your hand? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
3 iPads.
And you two, Mark?
3 items? No.
That's what I'm seeing here.
What?
3 iPads. $3,000? 3,000
Up to 3,000.
for 3 iPads?
Yeah, they're, say?
Probably the phone number.
It's for the program, but I think it's gonna be more than 3 iPads.
That's not
Well,
what
it
the.
that's not what it says. It says 3 iPads, and I know you, I can get that any day of the week from my.
One at a time.
I'm just applying the motion. Dawn is sick today, and she knows more about it than I do, so I
Are
really.
you questioning the price of the iPads?
Yes, I am, especially, and if there's other items that are supposed to be included, it should state it. And right now, it's just saying 3 iPads.
All right, well, that's what the motion is for. I just purchased one that was over $600, so.
Okay, so 3 iPads, $600.
Well, I
It's
didn't,
easy to get them over
Depends on what
850, no
depends
problem.
on what type you get and the amount of.
Horsepower.
memory.
True, covers too.
Well, it says it's for directing the robot.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, it's kind of out of order, huh?
Well, we're still taking public comment.
I know, but it was got kind of out of order, huh?
Thank you. Luke, did you have something you wanted to say?
It just says it's used to program and direct the robots, unless they really need that processing power or something for compiling it, they shouldn't need anything more than the cheaper model.
Yes.
Do they have a director of this program already? Is the program already in existence?
Yes, the program's already in existence. Mark?
I think it's a great idea, and again, I'd like to see, our logos on those iPads sponsored by our organization, and any money that we give out on some level, I think this has always gotta be the case, that we need to have signage to go along with those programs.
Okay, Jim Summers?
Yeah, along with that signage, it might be a good idea for you guys to actually take a little video that we could put on our website so people know what we're doing with our money.
Anything else,
The
ma'am?
other issue would be security, because I know LA Unified had a huge scandal regarding
Yes.
iPads. So,
Well, security meaning.
maybe
who
that they,
keeps them?
the person who's in charge of making them lock up or whatever.
Maybe that's part of the price. It could be more.
All right, any other, before we go any further, hold on, we're not at board discussion.
No, I was just gonna, okay.
Okay, hang on. Before we get any further, let the minutes reflect that Cindy Freeman is here and that Captain Graham is here. Okay, thank you. All right, so just to recap here, we have a motion for up to $3,000 for 3 iPads for the Tulsa Elementary Robotics Program. Board discussion. Sally, you're first.
I just think it needs to be reworded, because, I hope we do the robotics program up in St. Fraser. And I think a lot of the fees are for the, probably half is for the iPad, and the rest, it's very expensive to, go to competitions and things like that, and I just think it should be reworded. That's my opinion. So,
Just
it
bring the motion.
should say iPads and covers and entry fees and things like that.
Jeffrey.
Most of you know that I'm not really the most high-tech person around. In fact, I write my briefs on a tablet, but it's a stone tablet with a chisel.
It's a challenge.
It's what it is. I think it's a great idea. I would love to give them money for this, but at $1,000 a pop, I mean, I have to go with anyone else here that says it's excessive. And if it is excessive, I think it needs to be brought down. If there are other things that are included in that $3K, then we should know about it. I hate putting it off another month, because we've already put it off. But, you know, in good conscience, I can't spend the city's money on something that I'm this unsure of.
Well, my granddaughter.
All right, hold on, we're through public comment. Let the minutes reflect Mr. Smith has now arrived. Mr. Matthews.
I'm going to do a legal analysis of this motion, and it sounds like you've stepped over this opportunity, but the fact is the motion is a request from the school to fund, for $3,000 to fund their robotics program. and then as a completely separate comment, it says that they want to purchase 3 iPads. It doesn't say they're going to use the money to buy the 3 iPads. It says that they want $3,000 for their robotics program. They've been in here before with their robots. They're a fantastic group. The guy that runs the group is fantastic and really motivates the kids. I think there is no better way we could spend our money than to give it to that robotics program. Tulsa Elementary.
All right, another discussion.
And I've made a mistake about the guy, actually, it was a guy from the other school that was there, but all the same, these robotics programs are fantastic, and I thoroughly endorse this.
Mr. Benedetto?
In addition to putting a label on the iPad, I also think we should get some credit in the school's newspaper and perhaps in their yearbook as well. Additionally, about 3 years ago, we gave a neighborhood purpose grant to BOSS for their robotics program in the amount of $1,500. I think the needs of a high school probably exceeds the needs of an elementary school to some extent. And I think our contribution should be more in line with that.
Any other discussion? Julie and then Derek.
I was gonna call the question.
All right, question's been called for. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schindelheim.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
you had mentioned that the amount allocated would be up to 3,000, and this printed.
It does say 3,000, yes.
So is it up to or
No,
in
it's,
the amount of?
whatever the motion reads is how the motion reads.
In the amount of, so
Yes.
it's exactly.
Mr. Schindelheim, second on the motion?
I have a question.
Well, on the motion to call the question.
So, I have a question about that,
Okay.
because isn't Mr. Benedetto making a motion to amend the motion to a lesser
Well,
amount?
it's too late now. We have a motion to call for the question. A motion to amend should have been made previously.
Unless someone wants to withdraw that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on the motion to call the question? All right, I don't see any hands. Motion to call the question. All those in favor, let's signify by raising your hands. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I make 9.
No, 10.
10? All right, I didn't see Derek.
Derek.
And you're 11. I'm 11. All right, thank you. All right, the question has been called for then. On the motion itself, all those in favor, this is a funding motion, so we're gonna take a roll call vote. Julie, roll call, please.
Okay, Dave Beauvais,
Yes.
Mike Benedetto,
No.
Jeffrey Boer,
No.
Bonnie Burst. No. Julie Carson, yes. Don Graham. Sally Kolstad.
Yes.
Darren Lopez.
Yes.
Anthony Matthews.
Yes.
Mark Morris.
No.
Brandon Schindelheim.
Yes.
Brad Smith.
Yes.
Andrew, Cindy
Andrew.
Wu Friedman. Are you thinking?
Well,
There's no more discussion, yes or no?
I know. I'm gonna say no, hopefully we can go back.
Okay, there's a no. Go ahead.
I got 751, 7 ayes, 5
5
noes,
noes,
and 1
1 abstention.
abstention.
All right.
So the motion passes.
The motion carries. All right, thank you. Democracy in action there. The views of the stakeholders. All right, let's move to committee reports. Last month, Jeff
I
asked
thought you
for
just-
up to 30 minutes of a general discussion.
You didn't vote on the motion.
I'm sorry?
Oh,
You
that's
just,
motion.
you didn't vote on the motion
That
yet.
was a motion.
That was a motion.
No, you
yes.
just voted on the call to the.
No, both are voted on it.
I just
I
got.
asked for a hand vote on the,
Oh, okay.
call for the.
Sorry.
Call the question.
Went too fast because there was no roll call. I missed it.
Gavel down the audience.
All right. To go back, we're going to have up to 30 minutes of general discussion. This will be board discussion, followed by public comment. I'm doing this so that the public will have an opportunity to hear what the committee as proposed or discussed up until now, rather than just making comments without having the benefit of knowing what thoughts the committee and what direction they're going in. So we will have 30 minutes of general, up to 30 minutes of general discussion. It's almost 7:30, so let's give it till 8 o'clock if necessary. If we don't go that long, we don't go that long. I would ask board members